Can't hear you?
I am perfect. Great.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Just Enough Heshy show. I was just asking Ezra if he can hear. He's getting a little older. He has so many kids screaming in the house, so he doesn't know what he hears. Right, Ezra?
That's correct.
Oh, God. Talk into the mic, because, you got to talk. You just like you scream at your children, Ezra. Anyways, tonight, we have a wonderful show. We're going to be talking about parental alienation. We have my beautiful co-host Sawyer here. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
And if you want to ask a question on YouTube, just type it in, and she's going to tell it to me if she wants, if she doesn't start ranting and raving like she always does. And you're so pretty. Do you know that me and Linda went on the roller coaster today? On the cyclone?
You guys looked awesome. I saw Linda got her hair done. Really nice.
Do you know why I went in there today, Ezra? You don't know. There's a secret here, Ezra. She goes in there, and I really wasn't going to go pick up Linda today. And all of a sudden, I put money into the bank account. We have to cover our bills. You won't believe what happened. Boom, $600 charge. And I said, maybe she went shopping. Maybe she bought food for the house. I see it's from Glammy, $600, the hairdresser. And I run over there. I zoomed. I got to see what Linda looks like for $600.
Looks awesome.
I got to take care of myself. I said, Linda, not for $600. My haircut is $19. And she only gave me $10 today. That's why I took her on the cyclone. But I'm just telling you now, Ezra, now you understand what's going on. They trick us. They hide this money. They go to the beauty parlor. Then they all talk, all these women. They saw me come in. All of a sudden, you heard all the chatter. Shut up, Ezra. Right away, you heard all the noise. I walked in. Boom, it was quiet.
Heshy, keep going. It's going to cost you.
But you know why they were quiet? Because they already charged Linda $600. She didn't want me to ask questions.
There you go.
Anyways, everybody, we have a wonderful show. We have, of course, my wonderful, handsome co-host, Ezra Levy, which you can ask any criminal question that you want about him, plus any court question. Ezra, how are you? Welcome back.
I'm great, thanks. Good to be back.
And don't forget, we're going to announce who Ezra is. He's a criminal lawyer, a defense lawyer. He can do anything for you. A wonderful, smart guy. He tells me not to talk about my case still because I don't know.
One more week.
I don't know. He's telling me to. He's not even letting me curse out the judge. Why?
One more week. We'll talk
God.
about next week.
Anyways, we have a guest here tonight by the name of Roy. He's a veteran of the United States Army, and he's also going to talk about parental alienation, what's happening to him, and it's a very serious subject that we're going to bring up tonight. And he's going through a lot of problems, and he's going to discuss it. And we're going to see what experience he has. And of course, this is a man that had defended our country, and we're going to hear
we salute you.
And we salute all of our soldiers, which I've always have, and I love you, and I thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. But what we're going to do quickly is, if you saw her doesn't rant tonight, she's ready to rant. You should see she was screaming before the show. Thank God I wasn't in the room.
High-tech web group. Have you been pushing off for modeling or creating a website? Well, now you don't have to any longer. Let high-tech web group's team of professionals construct your site with skill and precision. You can reach High-Tech Web Group at 212-235-2777. That's 212-235-2777. Check out their website at info@hightechwebgroup.com. Call High-Tech Web Group today so you can experience a whole new world of business. 212-235-2777.
That's great. Keep going. Plaza Auto Leasing.
They are not only a leasing company, but also a dealership. You get the best of both worlds, the flexibility to lease or buy any vehicle, make or model, combined with quick service, huge inventory, and easy approvals. There is no finance manager to meet with, just a friendly pal sales representative that can handle most of the transaction from start to finish without you even having to step foot in their door. What are you waiting for? Become a pal and call Plaza Auto Leasing today. You can reach Plaza Auto Leasing at 718-975-9000. That's 718-975-9000. You can also check out their website at www.plazaautoleasing.com. Located at 2750, that's 2750 Nostrand Avenue, on the corner of Nostrand Avenue and Avenue N. Call 718-975-9000 and become a pal today. And don't forget to tell them Uncle Heshy sent you.
718.
They have specials going on now, like really awesome specials.
I know. I was talking to him. I'm trying to get a car. 718-975-9000, Plaza Auto Leasing. And then we have Green Line Building Solutions. I'm back. I've been working. That's why a lot of you haven't seen my videos.
Preservation and Development, Fire Department, Criminal Court, Department of Finance, Environmental Control Board settlements, Building Consulting, Violation Removal, Construction Management, Owner Compliance, Contracting, Licensed Department of Building Expediters, Designs, and so much more. Professionals for all your building solutions. 202 Foster Avenue, right in the heart of Brooklyn. That's 202 Foster Avenue. You can reach Green Line Building Solutions at 718-871-0382. That's 718-871-0382.
718-871-0382. I'm there. We're out there to help you. And by the way, Ezra, this week somebody came in. He had in the house, he had too many beds in the house. Just let me tell you the story, Ezra. He had too many beds. He has a 3-bedroom house. The neighbor complained about him, as always. And what happened was he has 9 kids. I'm sorry he has 9 kids. So he puts...
Why are you sorry? He has
It's a-
that. Why
it's a
are you
blessing.
sorry? He has 9 kids.
It's a blessing.
So
He was blessed 9 times.
So his neighbor called...
He should keep going and make it a cheaper by the dozen, 13.
Right, so his neighbor called and said that he has
Baker's dozen.
Baker's dozen.
But his neighbor called and said he has a dormitory there. So what happened was the building department came and...
When you have 9 children, you have a
So
dormitory.
he didn't want to let him in. I told him not to let him in. They called the fire department. The fire department came and counted the beds. And they saw that in the 2 rooms, he had 9 beds because he had to split the boys and girls. And he slept with his wife and whatever, and a baby over there, 8 beds. And they actually gave him a vacate order that he has to remove and lower the beds because he has too many in the house. Ezra, this city just keeps... And I'm going to fight the violations. I'm going to try to help him out. Maybe he had a bed in the basement downstairs. Maybe he had in the living room. The point is he has a family. He's not using it as a hotel. He wasn't using it as a dormitory. But again, the building department decided they're going to issue it. Now, let me tell you what happens. If he doesn't comply, he gets a criminal ticket.
Right.
That means I have to now hire you to go down to make a settlement, if I'm lucky, for $1,500, just so he shouldn't get a misdemeanor on his thing. This is what de Blasio is doing, and now he's also doing more enforcement on traffic. That's what he's saying. He's not busy with, you're going to see, he's not busy with crime.
So hold on. This is something you discussed about while we were running some of your platforms that you're going to take care of. There is no cohesion.
I can't hear it. Go ahead.
How could you not hear me? I'm
Now
right
I hear
here.
you.
There is no cohesion between city agencies. So if you have somebody coming in and there's a problem inside a home, I mean, you should have some sort of a heart. You have 9 children, 5 children. It doesn't make a difference.
They just issue
Excuse
violation.
me.
No, excuse me. This city and de Blasio, like today, you know what he said today? I'm going to go now harder. I'm going to have more traffic cameras. I'm going to have more speed cameras.
Because I'm looking for more money.
Well, the
I want
city
to rape
was-
and pillage the city until there's nothing left. I chased out half of the citizens. The government helped me. We worked together.
Okay, so we got the ranting. Let's finish our commercial because I got to do our joke today. Mr. Super.
He is the best super. Just because he's got a business card doesn't mean he's got skill. Mr. Super employs a vetted team of professional handymen that are available on demand to serve your needs. They do all sorts of repairs: cabinets, furniture assembly, light fixture installation, ceiling, leak repair, sinks, toilet snaking, shelf installation, wall patch, and paint. You can reach Mr. Super at 718-218-5555. 718-218-5555.
Beautiful. 718-2 what?
218.
218-5555. I really like those guys. They also fix up your places. Very nice job. And then we have the best commercial tonight. Ezra Levy, attorney at law. I hope they put your banner up because I like when they block my face with your banner because you're just delicious. But Ezra Levy, attorney at law, go ahead.
He's a criminal attorney, and if you get into trouble for weapon possession, drug offenses, domestic violence, theft.
Really? Weapon possession?
Weapons possession.
I got to hear how you defend that. Oh, Judge.
Oh, a knife can be a weapon possession.
Knife, guns. I've seen actually teacups being used as weapons.
No.
Beer bottles.
This
you
is
name it.
our city of New York. Go ahead.
I think you can even be charged if you're walking in the middle of the night with a baseball bat.
Only if you swing at someone.
Okay,
Whatever.
go ahead. Finish
Anyway,
it up.
you can reach Ezra whenever you need to. You know, when you get your one phone call or before then. 917-755-1187. That's 917-755-1187.
Ezra, when they arrested me, they actually listened in as I spoke to the lawyers. Wasn't that illegal? I mean,
It is illegal for the.
They always listen
the
in.
police to listen to a phone conversation
but
with
it
your
was a
attorney.
video conversation with my attorneys.
Same
and
thing.
They
Same
always listen.
Well, that's not exactly true. I mean, if somebody's actually incarcerated in Department of Correction, at least if once bail's set, there is a list of numbers that they can't listen to, and once that's usually the attorney number, but everything else is recorded, at least on Rikers Island. As far as police departments, they're not supposed to be listening into when you speak to your attorney, but if there's a third party on it, and it's your wife or a family member speaking to you when they have their attorney and the other one they're patching through, that's then
But
all bets are
you
off.
and I know all the Zoom things with the attorney. They're recording it, so
Correct.
They are listening, and that's not legal.
Well, you get for court appearances with a closed circuit television and Zoom, the judge will tell you you're waiving. I mean, the privacy of the attorney is not waived. It should never be waived. Even when we had pre-COVID days, used to have video court appearances for defense or incarcerated, and just couldn't come to court, or just they want to make the trip. And the call with the attorney was always a private line. And as soon as you picked up that phone, everything else is muted.
Ezra, what's your phone number?
917-755-1187.
917-755-1187. He's really good, guys. Give him a call. Let him consult with you. He knows what he's doing. 22 years, if I'm correct, Ezra.
That's
right?
correct.
Very good. And I love you, and you're doing a great job. And he's going to try to control me, this guy, for one more time.
One more week.
We'll see. And then he has to try to make me behave for 6 months. Traveler's Choice, 212-868-8698.
Call Joseph and Devorah Leifer. You can reach Joseph and Devorah Leifer at 212-868-8698. They will help you with all your local and international travel, your car rental, your hotel, and everything else. A full itinerary will be covered by them. Traveler's Choice is your only choice for travel.
Wow. And don't forget, everybody, even though I'm not in the election, on November the 3rd, you can write in anybody's name. If you want to write in Heshy Tischler, or you want to still donate to the HeshyTischler.com website, I'm still in that till the last minute. They still haven't announced winners because they're still counting ballots. And it's already July 21st. They still haven't figured out, even though they know who the temporary winner is. I don't know. I tell you, I don't know what's going on. And then, of course, don't forget the Just Enough Heshy show. You can advertise with us. You can email at justenoughheshy@gmail.com. You can call into the show at 718-289-0070. And during the week, you can leave a message on my voicemail, 718-289-0070. Ask me any questions, leave a message, and I'll get back to you. But you can email me, and I'll always reply to emails at justenoughheshy@gmail.com. You can watch our shows at Just Enough Heshy at YouTube, Facebook, Just Enough Heshy. And if you ask me, I'll put you on my WhatsApp and send you all my daily or weekly links. Right now, we're going to start the show, but we're going to give a shout out to my
Mira
friend Ellie.
Nava,
And
Lila Tamar, Dove and Shani Hyken, Sergeant Peters, and of course my beautiful Shana. And who else?
And Ellie, my friend Ellie.
And Heshy's friend Ellie.
And I want you to know, today I got in trouble, and I want to
As
tell
usual.
you what happened was lately I've been giving Mira Nava chocolate. I'm talking to, look at his father sitting over there. He's going to scream at me, Heshy, I hate you. I know that I have to, but I have to.
You should see the bags of lollies he has in his car. He has one in the back seat, in the trunk,
Right.
under the seat.
But you know what she does
Bulk
now?
lollipops.
So now I break the lollipop, so when I get to the house, it's already eaten, you know what I mean? Because I only have 15 minutes with her. So now she watches me as I take the lollipop out of the back. She says, don't break it. And today I got caught with the lolly and her mother. I was in big trouble. Anyways, plus I had to give her a piece of chocolate too. So today, it was very wild. Anyways, we're going to do our show today with our joke and quote of the day. By the way, I want to tell a shout out to my beautiful daughter-in-law, what's her name again? Tehila. She's better.
You cut it out.
I'm joking. She's better. She's walking around. She's home from the hospital. I want you to know that. But by the way, we have a new guy that joined us. Avram, I hope you make his headset work. We have a new guy that joined us, Levi Backman. He is an activist for the parental alienation. He's going to tell us a lot of stories, and I'm going to have my lawyer here to hear if this is legit or not, or these parents are allowed to do what they're supposed to do. But besides all of that, we are going to have my joke and quote of the day. If you don't mind, you have to laugh at my joke. It's a rule of this show. So if you don't laugh, I'm throwing you out. Here's my quote of the day. The greater danger of most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark. So guys, maybe I wasn't supposed to be elected, but I'm going to fight. I'm going to continue fighting. This week, a lot of people were telling me, oh, Heshy, you lost. They felt
Next
bad.
time, you're going to aim higher. You're going to aim for president.
Okay, stop.
Because if Biden can be president, you could for sure be president.
Stop talking crazy. I did want it to become councilman. A lot of people told me Heshy wasn't saying. I'm still doing my stuff. I'm still going to jail. I still have a guy that came out on Monday to the house. We're still doing a lot of good things. We're still feeding people.
I think you need to go to the White House and bring those lollipops for Joe. Joey.
Yeah, okay.
Joe Biden.
Anyways, here's my joke of the day. As you know, I took Linda to the roller coaster, and me and Linda then went out to dinner. And we went to Chinese food because I love Chinese food. So Linda and I got our fortune cookies. And she opened up her fortune cookie, and it said, "Be quiet for a little while." I was so happy when it said that because she's never quiet. And mine read, "Talk while you have a chance." Okay, because Linda never gives me a chance. You know what happened this morning? I begged the girl. I begged Linda. I said, "Linda, I'm broke, zero money in my pocket. Can you give me some money?" And she takes out $9. I said, $9, Linda? You got to come up with an answer for $9. She said, "Oh, I saw $1 in quarters in your car. That makes it 10." God help me. I don't know these women. Anyways, we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but we're going to introduce tonight two of our guests. And Roy, who's as you know, a veteran and a soldier in the American Army, and Levi Backman, you're going to tell us a story. Now, I don't understand parental alienation. What does that mean? I mean, I do know what it means. I'm not a foolish man, but my problem is, hey, listen, the person who has custody of the child, that's the person who gets the child, and she or he will decide if the other parent is even allowed to see the child. I mean, she knows better or he knows better because they're taking care of the child, so the other parent most likely is not entitled to the child. Is that what that is? No? No? I got that. I know you're shaking your head, and I was just being sarcastic. So explain to me parental alienation. Is this woman, or in your particular case, it's your wife, Roy, is she just mean? I mean, what does she do? She says, "Oh, you can't come to the house." What happens over here? I mean, I do know because I know another person who took her child away for 7 years from her. I'm not going to say any names from her husband. You have to explain to me what is their gain, because you know and I know that half of these stories, and Mr. Ezra Levy, you know that a lot of these parents that say that the other parent molested or talked them into it is a lie. But these stupid judges, they believe it. They actually believe it. That's not fair. That's why I'm angry with the judges. How do you believe because one parent said something? How do you believe and automatically get, what is that, supervised
visitation?
I mean, it's not fair because one person said it. I mean, you're going to hear what Roy says. Roy is going to say that one of the judges said that the kid, even though he wants to be with Roy, the father, is making it up. Or what was it, coerced? Now,
Coaching. Being coached.
Didn't your kid have a lawyer?
Yes, he did.
So didn't the lawyer speak up?
Yes, he did. But my son,
Tell us the story here. You were married to her for how many years?
First, it's in the middle of the case. So just like your attorney's correctly advising you, there's certain things you can say and can't say. In this case, if they can take the fact that you're a veteran and turn it against you, they can do anything. So I'm in the middle of a case. I don't want to talk about, I don't want to hurt my case. But long story short, we were married for 2 years. I realized we made a mistake. We worked for each other. There was no bad blood. And I don't get it. There is no reason for it. Nobody's done anything wrong.
But now, you were in the middle of a case. We're not going to discuss the case. And what you told me was she left the country, right? Is she allowed to do that?
No.
But she did.
Yes.
And
For a year and a half, I have not seen my son.
No, and the judge is not doing anything about it.
Well, we'll see. That's still up to see.
So these cases, and Ezra, here you are. These cases, I mean, you go to court for administrative law, you get a violation, and they postpone it all for your parking tickets, and they make a decision in a day or 2 or 3, and it goes on. Here, these cases run 5, 6, 7. I mean, Levi, you can tell me, you know history. Some of these cases in family court can run 5, 6, 7, 10 years. Is that normal?
Obviously, not good. There's plenty of games that are played with adjournments and so on. By the way, if I have the floor for a moment, first of all, I'm very happy to be here. First time. Very happy to be in this room. There's a lot of energy. It's like a live radio show, so it's really cool. Also, I'm here with Heshy and Soya, two amazing, wonderful superstars in our community.
Oh, stop.
Stop.
Really doing good things.
I'm more amazing than her. But Ezra isn't very nice. You didn't say nothing about Ezra because he's fat.
I don't know Ezra. Nice to meet you, Ezra.
No, he's not fat. You're
You sound
gorgeous.
like my wife now.
Oh, my. Your wife was making fun of me the other day. Anyways, but Levi, let's get to the point here. These young men. I mean, do you only defend the? I mean, don't get angry now. Do you only defend the men that have parental alienation, or do you also do men do this to women as well?
Absolutely. This is not a gender war. Certainly not. We see it happening from either side. It's a parent that has the, I guess, this chutzpah, this audacity to go ahead with that type of.
But forget about the two parents fighting, Roy and his wife or whatever. The child, at the end of the day, is finished, is going to be destroyed. And the judge doesn't understand this?
I like the way you ask your questions because you mentioned earlier, you were saying it sarcastically how it should be. The person who has the custody should decide. And really, you have to look at it from a place where the child is born into the world with rights. And the rights are to have a mother and a father. That's the way. That should be the status quo. That should be the mainstream. So it should really be equal access, 100% equal access from just because these two people who were married and had a child and didn't get along and got divorced and separated, doesn't mean that the child now has to just have it has to be worked out. There should be workability, and it should be really addressed that the child should be properly provided with access to both parents. It should be.
But this child is being used. Number one, again. Now that the divorce, let's get to the fact. Even though you have a child, it always comes down to the money. Maybe the husband is not giving enough money. Maybe he, like there's one guy that I went to court with the other day, and he's only giving his wife $25 a month child support. He has money. Matter of fact, he sued me. He's one of Ezra. He hates Ezra so badly. He actually sued me because I showed up at one of the divorce events. Now, they use this get process, and maybe the wife is using it again, and then they want more money. There's always money involved here. Doesn't the judge understand? I mean, are these judges just stupid, or just? I mean, I know my mother was divorced, and she had no problem giving her children over. She had no problem sharing it. She wanted to have the ex-husband, even though she didn't talk to him, being involved with them. They were there all the time. I don't understand. The judges are not qualified to do this. Family court judges are not qualified. They don't have the psychological classes, the classes that they have to be, master's degrees to get this. They just sit there and judge.
Can I just say something? I mean, it's not my expertise. Unfortunately, I've been involved in some matrimonial actions.
You've been dragged in?
I've been dragged in. But at the end of the day, I mean, the way it really works is that there is an attorney who is assigned to the child to represent the child's
Law
legal
guardian.
It's a law guardian. It's more
Or gal, guardian ad litem?
It's a guardian ad litem. But there's also in every case now, at least what they do is that there's a forensic psychologist or psychiatrist who actually sits down and speaks with each parent separately, as well as the child. And so they're trying. The judge is stuck between a rock and a hard place because you're making a judgment. You're making a guess on which parent would be the most suitable, which at least which would be what it would be the baseline, at least at the beginning, until we see how things work out and develop. And obviously, the parents are always going to be coming back and forth in front of the judge to modify these.
But do these forensic people? I mean, let's be honest, Ezra. You and I are friends, and we know each other pretty well. And I know Levi already for a little while. I've been talking to him, but I don't know what goes on in his house.
No, but
I don't go visit him all the time. I don't know what you do behind the doors. I don't know if you beat your wife or hurt the child. The truth of the matter is, these guys are not professionals. Don't we need to have these professionals to be more involved with the father, the mother, the child?
Well, unless you want somebody in your house 24 hours a day monitoring every interaction between a parent.
When you adopt a child, you have to go through the process.
That's an adoption process. But again, these are natural born children to the parents. We have a biological father, a biological mother. In a great situation, they would have been together, and you wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. Unfortunately, the marriage or the relationship deteriorated, and now they're in front of a court.
The
judge has to literally make a judgment.
But the first thing I say, and in Roy's case, he molested the child, he abused the child. Right away, the judge jumps in. You know it's not true. 99% of the time, those claims are wrong. Roy, did you ever get a claim like that?
We've had attorneys.
Even worse. People, when it comes to, I wasn't even accused of anything close to that. The fact that I'm a veteran and I was prescribed certain medications for depression or PTSD. Things my ex obviously knew about when she married me, but now it's turned against, So all the other judge had to do was go drugs, and according to law, if you're prescribed medication by a licensed physician, it's not drugs. When and I'm doing air quotes, but it's not drugs when it comes to family court. That's the law. But they don't. As soon as he said that, he took away a Wednesday visitation. It's like.
But
No serious accusation had to be done.
You told me you're getting supervised. Why are you being watched?
So I had every other weekend, every other thing, joint legal custody. That means I'm supposed to be told where he goes to school, where everything. None of that was being followed. So for as long as we were in court, everything was being followed. As soon as we left, nothing was being followed. So I went back for enforcement. I dared to go back for enforcement, and everything, because I went back to enforce the divorce, everything fell apart.
Who can enforce this?
I got punished.
But who enforces this?
It happened, I went to family court, and because it was within the 18 months, she took me back to the judge we were with for 6 years, and he right away started punishing me.
So
I didn't even have an attorney.
You're in court for 6 years?
More. It's almost 9, almost
How old
8
is your
now.
son?
My son is 9 years old. We were in court since he was 7.
Ezra, how much
Years
is this
old.
He's 3.
But
Since he was 3, yeah.
One minute. Ezra,
Almost 3.
forget their case that what's going on here.
I just want to say something about the court-appointed attorney. He's not a psychologist. My son was he's been wanting to talk because he saw us. He didn't want us fighting. He wanted this to be over. His big thing was, I want to talk to the judge. I said, your time will come. Just say the truth. And he told his lawyer everything. He wants to be with Dad. He wants to see his mother. The attorney called him a liar. My son told me. He said
That's the guardian ad litem who was appointed to represent
not a
the child.
psychologist, an attorney.
No, there's a guardian ad litem who's an attorney, and then but there's also there's an independent forensic, either psychiatrist, psychologist, or therapist who actually interviews the parents individually as well as the child and makes a report for the judge. The judge is free to accept or reject it. Most judges will accept it because judges are afraid of their shadows. I mean,
but the forensic report.
Did you just hear what Ezra just say? The judge is afraid of her shadow or his shadow. That's stupid.
But that's the reality. I mean, the last thing a judge wants
It's
to
a
do.
business. They have to operate in a certain way.
The last thing a judge wants in any courtroom is to be on the front page of the New York Post. Okay, or the front page of the Daily News, either for releasing someone without bail and that person goes out and commits a crime, or releasing a child into an abusive parent when there was information in front of the judge. A judge has to. The reality is politics. A judge is there to try to get reelected or to at least get reappointed. It sucks, but that's the reality.
There's really no oversight in the court. And the fact of the matter is,
there is an appellate process.
Excuse me, I've stepped into court. I've filed things. I've written things you wouldn't believe, but I could just tell you this right now. There really is no oversight. I've heard judges saying when they were told by a lawyer, this is non-discretionary, and the judge says, I just did. I just did. What are you going to do about it?
Happened to me as well as an attorney.
What does non-discretionary mean?
Well, non-discretionary means that the judge has no choice but to do what's being requested. For example, these days, since we always discuss it, I was going to be outside the family realm, but let's go back to crime. There are some crimes for where the judge has zero discretion whether or not to release a defendant. That's the whole bail reform. Non-discretionary means the judge cannot make an independent judgment based on the fact
he has limited leeway. He has to follow a certain prescription of law, and he can't just do whatever the heck he wants to do. And when a judge says in a courtroom, I just did, what are you going to do about it? That's a problem. That judge should be disrobed, disbarred,
got you. Levy,
impeached.
Levy, Roy's got his case, and we see how bad that it's going on with him, that he's 9 years in court. His wife, I understand, even left the country with the kid. And I know he thinks he can enforce it. Who's going to enforce it? The police? They're too busy giving tickets. Who's going to enforce it? They're not even doing crime. Who's going to make her, Roy, bring that kid to you every week?
I'll tell you, you want to see a show? Have me back in a few months or a year when it becomes clear that I'm not going to see my son or no one's going to force it, I'll show you a show. There's a judge in Supreme Court that has an article in the New York Times that was written about him, how he's biased. And there's they put in 5 cases how it was all overturned in appeal. He's doing the same thing. He's destroying lives. He's destroying kids' lives every day. And he's just there, elected by a few hundred votes.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I read about this, Judge.
Levy, you've been involved not with one case. Matter of fact, you're an activist. You're part of many.
I think I read about it. There was an article about him, Judge Pruss.
All right.
Then there's another judge, also very, very corrupt, Judge Grubel, Alana Grubel.
But I want to talk to Levy. Levy, you've been involved with many cases. My problem is what are you doing about it? I mean, judge after judge keeps dragging these people through it. You have people, I understand the year you're going to make us suffer. 2 years, 7 years, 8 years. I mean, you and I know of a case personally, 7 years, that not only the kid can't see their father, he doesn't even talk to the father. Now, Levy, I mean, you guys you're not accomplishing anything. Okay. I mean, I'm not making fun of you, but either the judge is getting away with it, the other side, he's telling me enforcement. What enforcement? Who's enforcing it?
It's called an injustice, that's for sure. Earlier, you were asking about stories. It's sort of an improv, radio show. Roy here has a story. I'm not going to go into stories because I think there's just too many. I'm not sure which one to pick. I want to say that you ask. Also, another thing I just wrote down over here because you mentioned before about money. You were saying about $25, child support, all these types of games. There's many games with money, and there's many games with a lot of things when it comes to this. But I do know, I'm under the impression that when there is a lot of money, there is also more possibility, for fighting. I want to take the opportunity because you asked me to come on the show, and I really appreciate it. I want to talk about parental alienation advocacy, specifically advocacy, because that's what I'm here for. And I was thinking it over, and I discussed it with a friend of mine, another person who's involved just like I am. We came up with 3 basic things to consider and to bring into the norm, because it's an injustice. You're asking who's going to enforce this, who's going to enforce that. Not enough people know what's going on. It's under the table. It's brushed under the rug. It's like the community's silent about it. There are other injustices that go on or have gone on that have been eventually addressed. This should be one of them. So first of all,
is this problem only in the Jewish community?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, this is not a gender or a Jewish community thing. This is a worldwide, unbiased, ungendered issue. It's a real issue. It happens in our Jewish community too. And how can we sit around and let it happen if we're community leaders and activists and people like yourselves that do they're in for the good for the community?
How can you say it's a non-gender issue when it seems like most mothers I know in my case it was an automatic deal. She gets full custody. I have to fight and be happy with just every other weekend. I went in there with the assumption of 50-50. We had no assets. It was just bills. He didn't even divide the bills. All you have to do is give 50-50 for the child, and no money has to change hands. The mother gets, you know what? It's not whoever strikes first. That's what I found. It's whoever strikes first, whoever goes to court first, gets automatically this assumption that they're the good parent, and the other one has the uphill battle.
You want to hear something crazy? Roy told me he's a U.S. veteran. He fought. He was injured. He got shrapnel in his body. I'm not going to go into the details, but he was the one that went and fought. He was the one that fought for our country. And because his wife struck first, he's entitled to a free attorney. But because she was legally married to him at the time, and she struck first, she got the free attorney. Gratis on his GI or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Not only that, that an attorney that's expert in getting women the Jewish divorce, which I gave immediately because we had an agreement in front of a rabbi in the Bet Din that if I give the get, 50-50, no court, nothing. Next thing I know, the child is gone, and I'm served with an order of protection. 3 days later, and I have 6 months. I don't see my child.
Let's get to this. Ezra, everybody can get an order of protection just like
anybody.
All right. So legally, any domestic violence situation where
he
domestic
did not
relationship,
have domestic violence.
a domestic relationship a spouse, a former spouse, or even a former paramour, even a former date, to be honest, you can date twice and one of the places. Whichever one is, whether it's a male or female, goes out to family court, and his family court.
Or to the
there's also-
police department. It's
Well,
called a domestic incident
yeah, the
report.
domestic incident report is going to trigger the criminal process. How she's just asking about the order of protection, which you could do through family court. You don't have to get the criminal justice system involved. If you go, you file a petition. The petition will be signed by the judge automatically, issuing a temporary order of protection.
Wow. You
With the
don't mean-
return
you
date.
mean there's no-
With the return date. At the return date, it's usually going to
TRO.
be it's usually going to be extended the first time around, maybe the second time around, but you will get an attorney involved, at least in the family court. An attorney will be either assigned to you, or you could retain your own counsel. And I've been rather successful in actually handling some of these cases. And you either negotiate the conditions of the order of protection, or you fight it and you get them dismissed. A lot of these cases are bogus. I mean, it's more of a revenge because we didn't like the way the things ended. However, when there are kids involved, it's a different ballgame, because the judge is tasked with looking out for the best interest of their children. And again, every case it should be dealt with differently and separately and on its own merits. But judges have their own biases, like any other human being, built in. And Roy's been mentioned. Yes, there is a traditional bias in family law that the mother gets the children. It's not the law in the state of New York. It's the law in the state of New York is that whatever is in the best interest of the child should be controlling. And ironically enough, there's a family court judge who is well known, and she actually testified as a child to get back to her father's custody after her parents were divorced, and now she's in family court herself, and she's actually one of the better judges
but
to be
what
in front
happens,
of.
like in Roy's case, the mother took the kid out of the country. There's
Well,
nothing
yes.
Roy could do about it.
Right. So I think, Roy, we discussed this a little before the show. You have to file an emergency order, an order to show cause in front of the judge.
Big
which
deal.
is the-
Big deal.
And then once that is in, the judge will hopefully find the other part, the custodial
No.
parent in contempt.
Order to show cause is very good.
And then once
How
you get-
long? How long till you get in front of the judge
That's
with an
the
order to
problem.
show cause?
That's the problem. An emergency order, you should theoretically should be able to get there very quickly. That's everything's again.
So now you got
theoretical.
your order to show cause. What's gonna force this lady to bring his son back?
Well, again, so if not, there's a contempt order, and then
A warrant?
and then there's an arrest warrant, and then
Big deal.
and then, well, depending on what country, the
You
parent,
can't extradite them.
there are there are extradition agreements. They're not easily enforced again, and you have to get a lawyer who's gonna represent your needs. and it's
Basically,
gonna
I
be
need to
very
spend.
tough.
He's
You
gonna
could
have to spend.
You could spend
Hundreds of thousands of
thousands of dollars.
Which I don't. Yeah.
With most people don't have. You could have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to try to enforce what should have been done in the very beginning.
So Levy was screwed. That's it. Too bad. Go jump in the lake. Parental, whoever does this parental alienation wins, and too bad.
We got to make changes.
We have to make changes.
And what's your
I think-
suggestion?
well, a couple of comments that were just mentioned. I was saying that it's. I see that it's.
By the way, anybody you want to call into the show, 718-289-0070, 718-289-0070.
So I think that what we just mentioned before, there is this kind of, people try to say it's more, one gender over the other. I believe that's a narrative. I think there's a narrative that whoever has custody is usually the good parent, and the one who doesn't is the bad parent. That's a narrative. Also, that females are the ones that are usually the alienators. That's a narrative, because I know plenty of I know plenty of women that are victims of parental alienation from some guy that gathered together and put it all together, whether it was money or it was, it comes as a surprise. If you knew that alienation was coming, you would be very well prepared. You would be keeping every single document and on alert and everything like that. I wanted to discuss three things.
One more
Yes.
thing. So I hear about men and women. A minute. I hear about men and women. Does this parental alienation also go over racial lines? Like, does it only happen to the Jewish people? Does it only happen to white people? Only rich people? Does it also
Everyone.
happen?
I'm on a lot of support groups on Facebook, parental alienation support groups. Wow. Every country, every nationality, every ethnicity. It's something that happens out there.
Across the board.
Yeah.
Wow.
Regarding advocacy, this is what I'm here for, and I came up with 3 lines. Well, 3 sentences. First of all, people, this is very important, these 3 things. People should think twice before accepting that some parent is either abusive to the children or abandoned the children. Sometimes people say they're abusive or they abandoned.
I agree.
Think twice. You don't know the whole story. Usually you want to believe the first story you hear, but you don't know the whole story. Number 2, advocacy tip number 2. Not being a good spouse does not imply that someone can't be a good parent. Do you know how often it is that when you speak to someone who's a predator, they'll say, oh, the guy was a terrible guy, or the woman, she was crazy, and the marriage was terrible, and they really disagreed, and A, B, and C, and you let your mind wander what the problems were. Do you know that a parent and child relationship is a very special one? There's nothing, obviously you want to protect children in certain cases if there's, molestation or someone's in jail, et cetera, et cetera. There could be some cases where it's your job to protect the child, but alienation, authentic alienation is not like that. Authentic alienation is an abuse. 3.
What
Yes.
So now, do you have any information that now this child has gone through parental alienation? He's 9, 10, 12, now he's already 18, 19 years old. Do we have any paperwork, any information or reports that these children are lost?
Absolutely. My goodness. First of all, you could read up about these things. Second of all, I've spoken, I'm involved, I'm out there. I speak to people from I speak to people who are predators. I speak to people who are victims, children, parents, and grandparents. I've gotten perspective from everybody. I've spoken to people that are my age that when their parents were divorced, they were deprived from a parent. Years later, they made the effort themselves to get to know their parent. And I was speaking to a lady the other day, and she was telling me how, without details, how it was very difficult growing up with those parents fighting. One was really like a little bit unstable. The other one was alienated, right? The unstable one was keeping the other one away, and it really affected her. She needed years of digging deep in her life and seeing where therapy and all that.
Levy, let's just say that the parent alienation, that the mother is right or the father is right, they kept the other parent away because the other parent was nuts. I was just again at a Besdin court case where I actually thought maybe the husband was normal. Really,
right.
I thought he was normal. And don't get me wrong, Roy, I actually went in to make a deal with this guy because he's suing me. He's suing everybody, whatever. Ezra knows him. I was telling you behind the show, he finally gave a get. He's suing to get back the get, and he's suing me for $5 billion. And then he took me to Besdin, and then in Besdin he started flipping out. I actually thought that the guy was normal, and he wants to see his kid. And they gave him all the rights. They signed some kind of a agreement, and the last minute he backed out of the agreement. Now that he backed out of the agreement, she has a right to say, listen, you backed out of this agreement, I'm not going to honor nothing. You're never going to see the kid again. And now that the judge ruled for her, don't you think now, I got you. He's nuts. 7 years, 8 years down the line, he becomes better. He takes his medicine, whatever he does. Yeah. Is he entitled to see the kid again?
I want to tell you something. I don't have the information right here in front of me, so I'm going to give you information of a couple of resources for people.
But he screwed up. He lost it.
There is an organization, a grassroots organization in California, and the guy, what he's doing is he's actually taking these parents and fixing them up. Because at the end of the day, if you're a straight shooter, you come armed with, like, they can't even, if they can't come after you for whatever it is, any allegations, unstable, this, that, whatever. So that's his kind of angle on this.
Come allegations. I know children today, there's a lot of these young kids, 15, 16 years old, teenagers, and they go into rabbis, teachers, parents, foster parents, and if they don't get what they want, they just say, oh, you molested me, or you wanted to molest me, and don't think for a minute wrong, because I get a lot of prank calls, and I now videotape it, I Snapchat them, and they say, oh, you texted me first, you wanted this, and I'm very careful. I have a very solid record of 35 years, and I've dealt with a lot of children. I have a lot of children coming through my house never ever had an accusation. Plus, I had Linda there. But still, these kids figured out a way. And again, just like a stupid little kid can do it, 15, 16 with prank calls. And if you try to threaten him, what stops anybody from doing this? So, and not only that, we have to believe the kid. You know, we have to believe him, right?
Right. I think there's a whole new topic that I don't know if we'll have enough time to go into, but a lot of times people who are alienating, predators, they have narcissistic behaviors, tendencies. And sometimes they feed their children with some of this garbage. It's very dangerous, actually. Sometimes the children get, threatening to the other parent. So that's a whole can of worms.
Roy's case, the judge said that Roy was coaching the child. Is that true?
Suspicion of coaching. He couldn't even say coaching. He had to do something. So it's a suspicion of coaching.
So Ezra, suspicion is good enough for him to lose his kid?
Well, again,
not coaching, suspicion.
How are you going to prove coaching? I mean, how's a judge going to prove coaching? That's
But-
why. So
But
again,
here's the thing.
a judge has to give a reason for his or her decision. It doesn't have to be the most honest reason. It doesn't have to be the most legitimate reason. It has to be a reason. If there's something in front of a judge that he or she can hang their hat on in order to make a judgment, they're going to rely on it. So they come up with suspicion of something. I mean, I was once pulled over for suspicion of being on a cell phone. Even I wasn't on a cell phone. I had my hand on, I was resting at a red light, and the cop was actually, ironically enough, just standing in front of me because I didn't have a phone in my hand.
Right.
So, I mean, people make decisions and then legitimize it by using the word suspicion. Is it a legal basis? I doubt it. But then again, the problem is you have to try to enforce it.
By the way, I have a better story. When we were, when they did the lockdown on all the wedding halls, and I was keeping all the wedding halls open. So one of the halls, I was in the hall, and I made sure that the cops didn't come and couldn't get in. There was another hall 2 blocks away, and they called me right away. The sheriffs are there, the police are there. So I kept the police out. I said, "You don't ever want." I was fighting. I have a video of standing there blocking them. I said, "You can't come in." She says, "I can come in because I can suspect that you have prostitution or drugs there." So
They can lie. The police can lie.
So I was telling her, "Do you suspect me of being a prostitute? I want to see if maybe there are prostitutes, because I would love to collect some money. I would be a great prostitute."
Here's the thing,
so I wanna
Ezra. When a judge writes a decision,
But she says I could suspect. I mean, she really opened her mouth and said that. Ezra.
Again, when you give people power, they're gonna abuse the power, and power corrupts. I
don't believe so. I don't believe I would be ever corrupted.
Well, I'm not saying you. I'm saying when some people get power, power corrupts. It's a tendency. Now, we last year is not the most. It's not the best example we could use when we give anecdotes. We had a government that was, for lack of, had unchecked powers, and when you check their powers, you just doubled down. So we had a governor who violated religious rights on a daily basis. We had a mayor who violated.
This is not me talking, everybody. A lawyer. Go ahead.
We had a mayor who violated, business owners' rights, homeowners' rights, parents' rights, every daily citizens' rights.
painted a target.
People walking out of the house without a mask. It's not. There's no criminal statute
Yes,
against
there
it.
is. $1,000 fine.
They made it. They made it up.
I know.
They made it up, and using the term executive powers and emergency powers. I mean, look, we have at least 15,000 people who died in a nursing home because some moms are up in Albany had used executive powers.
You see how perfect it is? And I want you to know right now, I don't believe this for a second. I took my vaccine shot only because, again, I take it because of, I want to show compliance. But I don't want you to be forced into it. And don't tell me if somebody doesn't have the vaccine shot, he can give me his disease. So I'm doing it. Right now, they're saying the COVID variant, Delta, is going up. Right now, the whole country is spreading, and it's going back up from 0 to, I don't really see it in the hospital or whatever. So he's now, Mr. de Blasio says, I just want you to listen to me, audience. I'm not going to tell the masks to go back on. People should be more responsible. People should know what they're doing. So why couldn't you talk about this last year? Why didn't you let us all do the same thing last year? Because de Blasio is a pig. He thinks he's going to be governor. He thinks he has another chance. Mr. de Blasio, you're not going to close my parks again. You're not going to close my stores again. We're never going to listen to you. You're forcing the little children to wear masks when we were told told that children don't get it. Now children are getting COVID and dying also. It's just not true. But again, you people, I just want to say one more thing. On January the 6th, everybody, a lot of people stormed the Capitol. And we had a guy, Randy, on the show. This Sunday, and I want to make sure that you all know, there's going to be a rally to free them at Foley Square in Manhattan. On July 25th, between 1 and 3, you're going to have some serious speakers there. We have a Derek Gibson, who was on our show, who's running for governor, and a lot of big personalities, even recording artist Ava Aston. I actually like her. She sang the national anthem somewhere. There's going to be a rally to get these people to free these prisoners. And Ezra, one of these prisoners this week
Got sentenced to 8 months.
8 months. Explain to me. I got you. He went in there. He had to admit that you know what the judge said? If you would have been carrying an American flag, okay. But since you were carrying a Trump flag, you're treason.
Again, there was nothing. Let me say this. There was no insurrection. There was no treason on January 6th. American citizens have a First Amendment right to protest the government. There was a congressional hearing that's required by the United States Constitution to certify the election. Do I think that they went overboard with going into storming the Capitol? That's a personal
But
opinion.
they didn't let us in.
That's again, that's
the
a
reason
personal
they
opinion.
stormed the Capitol because you didn't let us in to watch the process.
That's a personal opinion whether or not I think they went overboard. Do I think legally they went overboard? There has to be some control, and the Capitol Police were actually they caused half the problem because it's already been shown. The Speaker of the House told them to stand down. So some people did go overboard. Most of the people who are incarcerated right now should not be incarcerated. The gentleman who got 8 months for basically protesting a little too loudly, it's a travesty of justice. And he took 8 months because he was facing 20 months. And a lot of these people have already been incarcerated since early January. So they're on the 8 months he's on the back end, he's probably going to get out around Labor Day or shortly thereafter, and that's what they're looking at. But if you're asking me, I think the First Amendment was violated for many of these people who are, being rounded up and being held without bail for honestly protesting a little too loudly. At the same time, I think that if you ask me my personal opinion, they may have gone overboard, and but it has to be proven first. But this is, considering what went on last summer, where people were actually torching buildings and beating up people in the street and punching cops out and getting away with it, I think it's just a travesty.
I do, and you know what I want to tell you, Ezra? Again, these people are making deals because they're scared. Now I'm going to tell
That's
you.
everybody. But everybody makes a deal.
So
Doesn't
Ezra, I was angry with you about some other deals. I'm going to tell you about a deal that I recently heard. A poor guy. He was in his home, and there was a home invasion. Mm-hmm. They tried to break into the house. He took his bat and chased the guy away. Okay. He was so angry, he continued to chase the guy off his property, grabbed him with his bat, and continued to beat him after he got him out of the house.
Okay.
So the police arrested him and gave him manslaughter.
So he killed the guy.
Because he killed the guy. Now, the guy attacked him in his house and he ran away. You're right. If somebody comes attacks me, I want to chase him and get him back even more because he could have raped my wife. He could have hurt me. You're right. We scared him off. We're entitled to fight back. No, that's not called self-defense. And they told him that if he doesn't make this manslaughter deal, he can get even life in jail for regular murder. So they lowered his deal and they gave him 14 months in jail for this. Whatever, 3 years, and he was out in 14 months. While he was in jail, of course, other things happened. And it went from 3 years to 10 years. Now, this poor man is now, for defending himself and losing it because somebody came after him. Our system, they're saying our system is the best system. I think our judges, like you said, are all political, same way in the parental alienation, especially family court. I mean, I never saw a court case going 5, 6, 7 years. A court case means you stand before the judge listens to both sides. After 2 weeks, I mean, murder trials are over in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a year. Look at this guy, the George Floyd case. Yeah. 1 year from beginning to end. You have this poor man, Roy, 6, 7 years in court?
Again, I think the difference between a criminal case and Roy or any other parent involved in a custody battle, a child's life it doesn't stop at 2 weeks, doesn't stop at 3 weeks, doesn't stop at a couple court appearances. The child's needs continue to develop and evolve as time goes on. The child's going to get older. The relationship between the child and the father, the child and the mother, is not something
But
that you can
Ezra, at
train in
least-
2 weeks.
at least-
It's going to continue.
But
And parents,
Ezra,
Heshy, just
but
one thing.
no, but Ezra,
Parents are going
after
to keep
2 weeks, let them go to trial. After 2 weeks, let the judge make a decision 50-50.
Okay.
You're so cute,
but
Heshy.
you
Do
do
you
that. But
know
you do
that
that.
some
And
of
then
these
the child-
court cases drag out? They push off your case for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months.
I went in
Are
with
you
that
kidding
attitude.
me?
But
No visitation in the meantime.
I went in with
No
that
visitation,
attitude.
no nothing, and you have to put in emergency order to show
so
causes.
that's-
You have to
I-
become a lawyer, and if you can't afford a lawyer, guess what? You
I
you
got
lose
that.
your privilege of being a
Okay,
parent
I
or
got-
whatever.
Sawyer, I got that. That's what I'm trying to tell Ezra. Let the judge have a 2-week court case that Roy and his wife split or whatever the decision is. Supervise that thing. If it doesn't work, you come back and you make changes. But not let the case go on and discuss it and discuss it and discuss
They
it.
what
want it to
happens
go
is-
on.
No, what happens is
hold
the
on, I went
parent
in with
that
that-
doesn't get what they want is always going to come petition the court for more. And even the parent who gets what what you think is fair,
And the
is going
lawyers
to
love
more.
it. Let me
And
ask you a question.
lawyers
What
love it.
happens
Of
when
course
you're
the
in
lawyers want
court? What happens when you're in court
You
for
bill.
years?
You bill. You bill.
But, excuse me. So you go to court and you want to get divorced and you want to go divide everything. Guess what? That lamp that you paid $600 for
now $6,000.
is now going to cost you $6,000. Let the lamp go. The problem is that people don't always let the lamp go. And also the judges, it's a business. They have the law guardians. They have the guardian ad litems. They have the
forensics.
social worker, the forensics. Everybody's on the payroll. Everybody's
Everybody
on the
has to get
tape.
paid.
Are you kidding me? It is a business. It is churning money and it's spewing out blood and lives because it destroys families and it destroys children.
Sawyer,
The people,
worst-
the culprits,
Sawyer,
the
we're coming to
victims at the end of the
I
day.
told you you can't rant, so shut
Worse
up.
than that,
I love Sawyer.
it destroys
So
marriage. People don't want to get married. But I want to give one reference.
We're coming to the end of the show. So Roy, give us your closing thing. Tell us.
Watch a documentary called Erasing Families.
What?
Erasing Families.
Erasing
documentary. It's so sad. You see parents in there. They're like, I fought for 10 years for my child. It made me broke. I got nowhere. I had to wait till my child was 18, and they came to find me. I mean, it's heart wrenching. I'm a year and a half, and I can hardly take it. When somebody kidnaps a child, you call the FBI. You get Amber Alerts. You get all the support, all this empathy. The court steals your child. Nothing. Crickets.
And they steal your time. They steal your health. They steal. You can't hold a normal job down.
There is no common sense.
It really destroys your life.
Levy, close it up for us, Levy.
Thank you. First of all, if you would have won for city council, you would have showed up at City Hall and probably mentioned some things over here to make it a better
I
place for
would have
children.
screamed and hollered.
Third tip, and then I'm basically almost done. I want to say, you guys have been speaking about the third tip for the last 20 minutes. And by the way, phone calls are what, 10 till next week on your personal line, right?
Okay.
The legal system and the business system are badly broken. We know this. I know this. I know this very well, not personally, but from the cases that I deal with. Parents lose rights without due process. We heard a story here tonight. I want to finish off my thing by giving you a couple of resources myself. Roy gave a documentary to watch. There is 2 organizations I want to mention. One is called Jews for Equal Shared Parenting, www.jfesp.org. The number is 646-PARENTS. That's a good resource.
646 parents. Go
Right,
ahead.
727-3687. The other one is called Broken Ties. The website for that is pretty simple, Parental Alienation 613.com. These are Jewish, but the truth is I'm not going to say who their clients are exactly, if it's open to everybody, but it's the bottom line. There's some resources. There is support. I'm support. I feel like I deal with this very often, but there is actually organizations. Again, it's jfesp.org and Parental Alienation 613.com.
Well, if you need guys to get in touch with them, you can always contact me and I can put you in touch with Levy. Ezra, let's say goodnight. First of all, what's your phone number, Ezra?
917-755-1187. And I think next week we could be celebrating your AC Day.
Maybe Ezra will let me talk finally, God's sakes. I don't like him. Anyways, everybody, come back to the show, watch our show, listen to Sawyer rant again, because she's just delicious. I love you, Sawyer. You know how pretty you look today? Did Sawyer look?
We need to continue this conversation next week.
We will.
There really is.
Watch my show, everybody. I don't agree with parental alienation. You should be good to one another. Try to help one another. Be good. And, of course, on November the 3rd, what name are you going to write in, Sawyer?
It's going to be a write-in vote.
Heshy Tischler.
Levy, please. I lost, really.
Stay tuned, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Ezra, I love you.